Hello, welcome to Revelator Alpha live stream video podcast, well, whatever it is, radio show, whatever you want to call it. So this was supposed to come out tomorrow morning, but I thought, I'm going to give myself a well-deserved lie-in the morning. So I thought I'd do it now, though I've been going through lots of the news feeds this morning, actually, or mid-morning. And there's lots of stuff out there of new bikes, and not necessarily just in this country, but around the world. So I thought I'd touch a few on different markets as well, what they're coming in. And ask the question, why is there a difference between different markets? I suppose the obvious one is down to legislation. What would be allowed in one market may not be allowed in another market, like emissions and that kind of thing. But anyway, listen, let's sort of dig into this without further ado. So if you want to support the channel, there is a super chats, super thanks, super stickers at the bottom there. You can go to the website revelatoralpha.com, get merchandise, or there's a PayPal donate button to help support the growth of the channel as well. But anyway, that's for you guys. But now we're just going to be talking about different bikes that are on the market. And basically what I've been doing, looking through lots of different news feeds and seeing what is out there, or what products, what bikes, what products are out there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this here to another window. There we go. And hopefully you should still be with me. And we're going to take this and move it over there. Marvelous. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share some screens and tell you exactly where I'm getting the stories from. But then I've kind of taken the images from those screens, so you'll have a much better view of them as well. Okay, let's get into it. First of all, a couple of products, really, I thought would be quite interesting. Motorcycle News here in the UK, they've got a story here by Stuart Prestige. Getting ghosted, D30's latest armor offers flexibility and comfort without sacrificing safety. I've always said this about armor or safety equipment. Back in the day, it was very simple, or there was either no protection, or you kind of made do with other things, let's say, really thick clothing, let's say. Then it went through that phase of, or many years of just, really bulky, cumbersome protective clothing. And everybody's idea of protection was just, knee pads on sliders on leathers and that kind of thing. Well, obviously it's all changed now. And so it even says here in the article, it says armor is no good if it's so hefty and restrictive that you end up taking it out. Yeah, exactly right. Or you just don't wear it, especially in kit like riding jeans. This is where the latest gear from British firm D30 comes into its own. And it's basically, I've seen some of their stuff before, D30. I think it's quite decent stuff, actually. But anyway, you've got the trousers, and you've got, different types of armor, and they're all kind of using this hard rubber compound now. If that's the right word for it, I don't know. But as I say, easy in, easy out, little slots, as opposed to having to rifle down the trousers or horrible, they got little slots just to put them in there, side access zips or sort of Velcro access. Yeah. So that's, half decent there. Okay. So that's that one. I just thought I'd mention that because that's quite an interesting one. The next one here is, again, Motorcycle News. Dan Sutherland here has got this baffling technology. How droll. But it's basically how Yamaha and Akrapovic are producing exhausts that will up the power, increase your power output without breaking noise limits. So that's an interesting one there. But basically, the technology is moving on, so they can still be noise compliant, but they can eke out an extra half a horsepower or horsepower, whatever it is. I'm mocking it a little bit. I mean, I haven't read this. I mean, this is Yamaha's track only R1 GYTR will arrive in dealers for 2023. I mean, I'd be interested to see how many people buy these. With a new Akrapovic mid-muffler system promising more power, less weight, and a noise level below 101 decibels. I wonder how many people are going to get this system for their road bike. I bet you loads will. It's yeah, I mean, basically, if you go to a track, there's always noise controls in there as well, and lots of guys take their bikes to tracks, and they're turned away because they're too noisy. I think they're usually about 105 decibels. I could be wrong. I think it depends on the track as well, determine what the noise level here is. But there you go. Look at Yamaha and Akrapovic on this new system. I'm just trying to see what the that using the standard R1's titanium headers, Yamaha claim a noise level less than 101 decibel, producing as little as 97.4 decibels in certain configurations when tested static indoors at 5,500. Oh yeah, okay. I'm just trying to find out what the price of this is. It doesn't actually say. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bolt-on feature, as you would expect. I mean, there's nothing really dramatic about it. It's got to be just the way the airflow and the back pressure is set up through the baffles, as it were. Maybe through, I don't know the actual internal design of it. I would imagine that's some kind of proprietary thing. But be interesting to see. I'd say for me, it'd be interesting to see how many people try and buy this system for their road bike. But there we go. I mean, that bike, that track bike is, and again, how many people just buy, unless you're a racer, of course, unless you're a racer and you're using this as your full-time racing bike, that's different. But how many normal people just buy a brand new track bike from a manufacturer? I doubt many. So I would say there's only going to be a handful of these bikes sold, in this country, I would say. All right, so that's all from motorcycle news. Now I'm going to skip ahead here. Let me just, maybe you didn't get a good view of those. Here we go, of those exhausts there. But let me just put those up there for you. And they do look nice, I've got to say. I mean, they do look the business. But right, okay. The next story is going to be from this autocar, right? And I'm going to put up a picture here for you, because this is the future of electric bikes. Also, the Chinese would have you believe. Now, so this is the new Da Vinci DC100. And the reason why I wanted to make a video on this particular bike, because the figures that they're quoting is just unbelievable. So the future e-motorbike will have 124 miles per hour top speed, okay, which is decent, isn't it? And 222-mile range, which again is very decent. So it's comparable to petrol driven bikes, right? Okay. And here's the thing. Right, so it actually said the Da Vinci Motors has also equipped the e-motorbike with a level 3 fast charging, meaning the DC100 can be charged in around 30 minutes. So 30 minutes, you can just ride for 200 miles or 222 miles, pull over into some services or whatever, go and have a coffee, put this thing on charge, and away you go again. I mean, that's, we're getting to the level now by all these electric bike manufacturers of the range being sorted out. Now they've just got to think about the price, of course. But here's the thing, right? The striking performance striking performance-oriented bike has a peak output of 100 kilowatts and a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour, 124 miles per hour, and the range of 222. Now, there was something else it said. I'm just going to read down here. No, it was something about the torque. I can't remember. The torque was just unbelievable. No, was it the torque on this one? I read it where it had a crazy number for the torque. I can't remember. Now, was it? It may not have been this one, actually. I'm just trying to quickly read through here. But anyway, listen, you know, at that range, I mean, again, no indication of price. The price, yeah, it says here the price of the new DC100E motorbike also remains under that. And they're thinking that this bike will come to Europe as well. All motorcycles will be built at Da Vinci Motors factory in China, although not confirmed when the motorcycle will become available. The firm's website does allow customers from the UK to reserve one. So if you're allowed to reserve one, you would imagine that they'll ship it out to you. Yeah. But that's an interesting one. I mean, let's have a look at that picture again. It's an odd looking thing, isn't it? It's just an odd looking thing. I mean, I can see why they've got the big cowling over it, just to, you know, hide all the gubbins inside it, as it were. Right. The next one, let me just get rid of that as we're going to. This is an interesting story for me because, you know, as I keep on mentioning, this is from another website. This is from Cision PR Newswire, and this is basically saying that it's the clamor for people not to go into electric bikes. It's not to go into electric bikes. The clamor is to get into the most affordable way to get motorized transportation. And the most affordable way, the most cost-effective way, is to get an electric bicycle conversion kit for your bicycle here, and apparently they're selling like hotcakes as well. So amidst the deepening cost of living crisis, with the average worker spending 20% of their salary on traveling annually, the company Switch electric bike conversion kit sees record demand amidst cost of living crisis, right? And allows you to own a state-of-the-art electric bike for under $500, right? With a pocket-sized battery that costs less than 2 cents to charge per 10 miles of range. So look, this is an interesting thing. The Switch kit is now available to pre-order on Switch's website. Due to significant demand, the option to receive your kit from one of the first 2 batches of production is now sold out. Would you believe? However, you can pre-order the kit. Later production run starting on $599 with 50% discount applied from January, February. It just goes on. The conversion kit features a battery similar in size to a large smartphone. The power pack weighs just 1.5 pounds, recharges just once. System provides 250 watts of pedal assist power, very high torque front wheel, allowing users to climb gradients of 30%. Look, so I think this is a really interesting way, because from motorcycle world, you're always thinking about motorcycles, petrol motorcycles, now electric motorcycles, and they're talking about hybrid motorcycles, and I've been talking about hybrid motorcycles for a long time. But actually, you can't ignore the mechanized or the motorized, in this case electric bicycles, and how that market is really moving on as well. And if we're talking about trying to have that kind of ability, but for a much cheaper price, then I think lots of people are going to be looking at that in the future. This is in the future. Okay, good. Right, so that's another one that came through. Okay, so here's the interesting one from I mean, I talked a little bit I mentioned Honda and the Rebel, the CMX 1100 Rebel. I think it really depends which market you're in where this is going to be sold. But the story isn't that. The story isn't the Rebel per se. Well, it is, but actually, it's what they want to do with the Rebel, and they want to give it some kind of touring makeover with a bit of a fairing and maybe some, bags on it as well. And they're trying to really take this up against the Harley and the Indian motorcycles as well. And they really want to go for it. I mean, they really want to, put against the Sports Surrey, against the Indian Scout. And look, in terms of engineering wise, I don't care for the looks so much, but in terms of the engineering wise from Honda, you're always going to be, looking at a decent bike there, aren't you? Let me just come over here. Okay, so pictures arrival to the Indian Scout at Harley Davidson Sportster. Appears that Honda will swell the range to include a CMX 1100T or Tourer, right? Variant after the subtle extra letter was spotted nestled within California Air Resources banned CARB by motorcycle.com. This website is visor down, by the way, yeah. Yeah, and here we go. Right. However, while the names are barely distinguishable, the standard Rebel and the T will be differentiated externally, with the latter set to get a batwing style front fairing. Whether or not Honda has gone to the effort expanding the Rebel's 13.6 fuel tank, however, remains to be seen. So look, I mean, they are looking at this, and again, this really depends which market it's going to be sold for, or it's going to be sold in. But I think it's a decent bike, the Honda Rebel. I certainly think you're going to get much better value for money if this is the kind of style of bike that you want than if you went for an Indian or for a Harley. As I say, I think I'd have to take a closer look at it. And I certainly have to look at it in the flesh to see whether that batwing fairing or whether some bags on it, some bag configuration would be, a decent setup. But as I say, watch out. All I'm saying is watch out Harley and Indian, because the Honda Rebel is a decent bike, and the people who ride it say it's very good. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, as I say, I'm just not too sure of the profile of it. The tank just seems to be a bit of an odd shape coming up high from the solo seat there. And I think if you're going to put bags on the back of it, they're going to be dinky little bags. I don't think I've seen one with smaller bags on the back, similar to the ones that Harley Davidson had for the Street Bob. I forgot who made them, but they're kind of almost square. They're almost square little bags like that, almost like a lunchbox size. And I think they throw over or they bolt to the rear fender. And I think it's going to be a similar kind of thing here. But the batwing fairing would be interesting on this one. Okay, so that's from Visor Down. So interesting there as well. Okay, so the next one is, now what's this website called? More Bikes. More Bikes here. I found this really interesting because, so let me just come back here. They're talking about this kind of retro. Is that it? Yeah, this retro sort of scrambler, and this is from CF Moto, again, Chinese motorcycle manufacturer. Already they have the CLX 700, first shown as a concept in 2009 against the CLX 700, CLX 700 Sport. But now they're going to have this adventure bike as well, which is, it's okay. I mean, whilst there's been no official word from CS Moto's UK distributors, we're confident we should be seeing this stylish roadster come adventure in not too distant future. It's built around the same Kawasaki ER6 derived 74 brake horsepower, 690cc parallel twin. Tubular steel chassis, but it also gets a larger 19-inch front wheel with an off-road style beak, front mud guard. Yeah, I mean it looks okay, doesn't it? There we go. Yeah, no performance figures on that. Just 74 brake horsepower, but it looks all right. Yeah, I quite like that one. Okay, so the next one is the Benelli. Okay, Benelli again, another bike made in China these days. I've always liked Benellis, I've got to say. I've always liked them. But here we got this, basically the article, again, this is all from More Bikes. The article pretty much goes on to say about how these mid-range, these middleweight naked bikes, they're big sellers, but they're also getting bigger and bigger engines. And primarily they're getting bigger engines now to meet the emissions Euro 5 standards as well. But yeah, I mean, this is really good. I mean, they're not sure what it's going to be called yet because it's gone from a 700cc to an 800cc, I believe. Yeah, be a 799cc parallel twin engine. A lot of these parallel twin engines are, coming out there. There's no word on pricing or availability, but rumors suggest it will make it to the market in the home market of China first before making it across Europe at late days. As I say, I said this about 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. I said that, watch out for the Chinese motorcycle manufacturers, or watch out for those manufacturers that are having their bikes made in China, and how they're going to be bringing out more and more bigger engine bikes. And this is proof in the pudding, as it were. But it isn't. I mean, it's a very nice bike, I would say. So I do like Benelli. I always like the color of Benelli's. Okay, Moto Morini, the Italian motorcycle manufacturer, small motorcycle manufacturer again. So, similar to Benelli, really. But they've been unveiling 2 all-new 650 twins again. The twins again. Let me show you some close-up pictures here. There we go. So this is the Moto Morini, and so they got these couple of variants here for you to look at there. I kind of like this one. Here, and this is. And let's just get back to the website again. The website is More Bikes here, and the Italian firm might have enjoyed multiple changes of ownership, and brief periods of inactivity, but since being bought out by Chinese automotive giant Zhongzhen in 2018. Okay, yeah, so they are fully Chinese now, in name only. Moto Morini. Things are starting to knock on. They've got V-twin powered super scrambler, but decided to shake things up in 2022 with the introduction of new middleweight adventure bike, the X-Cape 650. I like that 650 kind of range bike, I've got to say. And now it doesn't actually say. Does it say the price of this? As I say, it's got some nice lines on it. I've got to say, I quite like that. 18-inch front, 17-inch rear, semi-knobbly Pirelli MT60s, off-road style mudguard number boards. Yada. Yeah, this looks all right, doesn't it? This looks like a nice bike, actually. Again, a decent bike, a decent looking bike. Yeah, mid-range. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, on to the next one. This is from. I've taken a lot of this from Australia, actually, because they're doing some decent stuff, and their market is going to be different to our market. But where is it? Let me just come back over here. Riehu, say that bike I've got in the back of the workshop, that's a Riehu. It was quite an old one now. But in the last 2 or 3 years, Riehu, the Spanish motorcycle manufacturer, do mainly dirt bikes and small trail bikes or supermoto bikes or enduro bikes. They're just getting better and better, and they've got a really good following, a good reputation as well. But as I say, they've got the MR300 Pro 80th anniversary edition there. So it's got some spiel on that, and I've got a little shot for you here. There we go. Looks quite nice, doesn't it? Is this it? Yeah, there we go. Looks like, I mean, if you like, they do seem to have Ryehu. Do seem to have a chunky back end, as it were. It seems to be flat, and then at the back of flat backbone and a chunky rear end. But there we go. I mean, that's just my impressions. But again, I thought I'd bring that to you because people might be interested in that kind of thing. Okay, so that's that one going to Australia. But they've also gotten this KLX 230 Supermoto as well. Kawasaki in different markets are doing some interesting things, especially in this kind of sub 650. Some markets are bringing out the 650 KLR 650. Some are, some markets are getting 125s, 250s. And so this KLX 230 Supermoto looks quite nice. I'm not a great fan of supermoto bikes, although I've got one there in the workshop. I'm not a great fan, and I much prefer to have those bikes as an enduro setup bike. And then if you want to put road wheels on it, you just put road wheels on it. I don't like buying a bike like that. And I think, well, whilst I love the riding position, I think the bar width is great. It's just not for me. But I say, interesting bikes there. But I say Kawasaki doing lots of things. Say in Australia, getting I forgot what the price was, 7,494 Australian dollars for that. Husqvarna as well. They're getting some new bikes. Where's my pictures here? They look, I've always liked Husqvarnas as well. Huskies, I think they're just decent bikes in KTM as well. But they're celebrating the long tradition of Husqvarna, and they're basically Husky goes retro in 2023 with the Heritage Enduro range. So there's a little bit of throwback designs on some of these as well. Look, I mean, the reason why I brought this one up because I'm a big fan of older style scrambler bikes, older style trail bikes from the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. Well, early 80s really. So I kind of like that styling. So if any manufacturer is bringing that kind of style, I kind of like it, kind of dig it. But anyway, this is also from mcnews.com.au as well. Okay, so they've also got 2023 Beta. Again, they're Spanish, aren't they? The other manufacturer there make great bikes. I always said Beta are really good off-road bikes as well, scramblers, enduro bikes as well. Really like them. I say they've got this 2023 Beta X Trainer. There's been a popular option amongst riders that like to ride harder enduro trails, but want to do on a bike that's designed and made to be more rider friendly. The problem with a lot of these bikes is that they're cumbersome or they don't work very well. They're not very smooth. You got to have them full open, and they don't like to trail ride a lot of these times. So sometimes if you got to be really careful when you're buying these bikes. If you want to do trail riding, sort of you're going up and down through the rev range and up and down through the gears, and maybe you want a bit of carry through torque. Sometimes they're just not good. They're just constantly stalling. They constantly, flaming out, whatever. So, but anyway, look, they've got a new one, 2023. And, just watch the market in which you're in as well. Kawasaki again, KX250. As I say, they're coming out with new bikes here as well. Suzuki V-Strom, their 1050 DE. 21-inch front, more travel there as well. And that's, they've kind of ditched a couple of models on a global scale or a couple of variations of this V-Strom, and they're kind of going full in on the DE model as well. Okay, right. So the big news really was, which is kind of the thing I wanted to talk about more and more, which was Kawasaki. And basically, the Intimate show recently, they unveiled. Well, when I say they unveiled, they kind of teased the audience with this electric bike. Now, depending on which country you're at, you can expect the Kawasaki to be showing this bike at the show in your country. I would imagine quite quickly, but they've they've now where is that? There we go. So they've basically unveiled this bike here. Now where is it? Let me just quickly show you that. Get rid of that. There we go. And it's basically this bike here. It is an electric bike. Latest, and it's a prototype. Okay, and it's at the Intermot Motorcycle Fair in Cologne, Germany. You know, they haven't given any figures. It was a chain drive as well. You know, but the interesting thing about Kawasaki is that they, for the last 3 or 4 years, when everybody was going on about Harley Davidson, you know, saying that Harley Davidson had produced the first electric motorbike and all that kind of stuff, waiting in the wings were Kawasaki. They've been kind of slowly thinking about this. They've been working with the other big Japanese corporations, and actually I think there's like 18 or 19 motorcycle manufacturers now who have signed up to this common battery style that they want to use on across all motorcycles, or all motorcycles of a certain type. And here, look, this is where they've said they have the patents. They're going to produce bikes, and it looks as if they're going to produce a lot of bikes as well. I mean, they're looking at, you know, the fact that both electric and biofuels were being considered in addition to hydrogen power. And I've talked about this before as well. Hybrid bikes with different engines, different types of engine, different fuel cells, this kind of thing. So, and which Kawasaki is working alongside the likes of Toyota, it says here. And sorry, this website is stuff basically, and quite a few of the others have discussed this as well. But they're also saying, yeah, Kawasaki previously pledged to introduce 10 electrified motorcycles by 2025, with a total of 0 on the market as 2022 nears its end. The next couple of years should be quite busy with the Japanese manufacturer. I think that's a little bit of a cheap shot there. I think, you know, you can make projections and you can do whatever you want, really. It'll say you can make forward projections, but, you know, lots of things change, really, don't they? Lots of things change. But I say, look, you know, it definitely looks as if they've got, you know, big plans to bring out lots of different bikes. And if they look good and if they've got decent range, I know that, and it's a price point, isn't it? It's how much they're going to cost, how much they cost to produce, how much they're going to cost to buy, how much they're going to cost to run in terms of high electricity prices. I mean, they had was it last week, the week before? It's reported here in the UK that it's actually just as expensive to charge an electric vehicle, car or motorcycle, at one of these public spaces now than it is. It's just as expensive as it is to fill up your car with petrol. I think it's petrol, or was it diesel? I can't remember. So if you're not charging at home, you're on the road and you want to stop off and charge your vehicle, one of these fast charging places, it's pretty much exactly the same price, which is, you know, that was never supposed to be the game plan, was it? But anyway, so Kawasaki are throwing their hat into the ring there, and say, I mean, it looks pretty decent. You know, the styling looks pretty good. I've got to say, the styling looks really nice. It kind of looks a bit like I mean, it's, an electrified Z, it looks like. I mean, we don't know what the actual name of this is going to be. So no figures on it as well. But anyway, listen, that's something to ponder, to think about anyway. But anyway, listen, guys, that's let me just stop sharing that now. That's basically all the latest motorcycles here, or electric motorcycles. And I'm just a bit miffed that I can't find there was a power figure given by one of these. Let me just see if I can quickly find it and then share it with you. Because it was just unbelievable how much power this electric bike was claiming to have. It was just let me just I think it was something ridiculous in torque terms. It was something, the horsepower was one thing, and then the torque was just something completely different. and I forgot. For the life of me, I forgot what it was. No, not the. No, it wasn't the Dalmar. I wonder if it was that electric. Oh, anybody's seen this Arc Vector 2022 on? I mean, this is quite an old bike now. But I mean, it always looks good. I mean, actually, from the profile, I think this is Motorcycle Live, Motorcycle News. It actually looks quite good. Let me just share that with you. Just 1 second. Share screen. Done. Oh, wrong one. 1 second. Get rid of that. Bring this over here. New window. There we go. Right, so this Arc Vector. So I saw the show quite a few British company, electric bikes, high-end bespoke bikes as well, doing this kind of thing. But I think they got a new variant that they want to bring out with that as well. Now, what was that? Chinese. What was it? Oh, crikey. Let me see if I can get back to that Chinese bike. Switch electric. Da Vinci. I wonder if it's the Da Vinci. I might just bring this over here. There was a power figure that was just unbelievable, and I can't remember where the power figure was. No, it's not here. It's a shame. But there was I read an article this morning when I was just looking through all these, and it was just amazing power, amazing torque, which was being talked about. Anyway, listen, these are all the new bikes, all the new products for today. I thought I'd just go through them with you. And look, I think there's a healthy discussion to be had now about the future in the next 2 years or so of petrol bikes against electric bikes, and also in terms of range, in terms of price, that kind of thing. But also what other manufacturers are going to come out with, and what other sort of engines they're going to use as well. I mean, there was another article as well where a lot of the motorcycle manufacturers are all coming out, and they're all kind of having an alliance or one voice against the proposal of banning petrol engines in the coming years. So they're coming out fighting a little bit now. So watch this space, watch this news really for that kind of thing. But anyway, listen, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my afternoon. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that sort of useful or interesting. As I say, go check out these websites. I'm not stealing any of their stuff. I'm just sort of talking you through where I've got the latest news for today, and hopefully I've give those publications a decent shout out as well. And those photos I literally just took just so I can give you a bit of a zoom in on those. But we'll see. See what happens. Most of the big manufacturers, and I haven't really, as I say, the last night or whenever I was on, they haven't really released anything earth-shattering as yet. But time will tell in the next few weeks, I'm sure. So Harley Davidson still seems to be really light-lived, as do Indian. All the major manufacturers, have come out with a few new products and a few new bikes. I mean, Honda, I think, have been the ones that have come out the most. But there we go. Right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yes, indeed, time for a cuppa. Exactly. Go and enjoy your afternoon, and I'll see you again whenever that is. Cheers.